What's up, guys? Welcome back to the ranch. All right, ranchers, today we're diving into my pond again. So I have this little structure here that I'm going to talk about in a second and tell you what it is that we're putting together to help in my pond. So what's happening is in my pond, there's not a lot of structure that fish can hide underneath and get out of the target of the blue herring that tends to hammer my fish and eat them. So what I'm doing today is I'm essentially making a giant lily pad base to float on top of the pond so that the fish can go underneath it and have a shady spot. And I know what you're thinking, why not just plant regular lily pads? Well, a lot of the times lilies take over and you gotta get in there and weed them out. So I'm trying this artificial system here to try something different and see how this works to help my fish. Let's dive in and show you what I have so far. So what I have here so far is just like your standard plywood wire roll up end. If you ever seen those, they're like a big spool, and usually like your construction sites will have wire or cable or something rolled up in them. This is one of the ends of them. I added some foam insulating piping on the end, or like a pool noodle essentially. These had adhesive on the inside, so I liked them because I knew I wanted to stick it to the outside of this. What I did was I tacked with 1-inch nails around the whole exterior of this too, just for added security. And then I sprayed it black and added some camouflage because this is the side that's going to float up, and the other side I just did straight black. But this is kind of ugly. We're going to dress it up. I'm going to add some lily pads, be a little artistic, artificial lily pads, and decorate this a bit. For this step, I'm just using a staple gun and my artificial lily pads. These are foam, really nice looking artificial decorative lily pads. Same with these. Two different types. I've used them in the past and kind of roped them all together and made a mass of them floating around in my pond. Really like the result of them. It's just that they're not enough. So I need a good surface area, and that's where this plywood wheel is coming in to decorate this and make that surface area that they can actually hide underneath. We're just going to staple this down and do some artistic stuff. I'll show you the lilies I have in my pond already. We're not going to get rid of them. I'm going to just add this to that. They've been in the pond for 3 years, and you'll see they discolored a little bit. That would be a negative to them. They do discolor. But other than that, they're still floating. They're still doing what they were intended to do. I just need more of them. Just going to lay these out in no distinct order just to help decorate this a little bit, and then I'm going to go around and staple it down. This should look pretty good in the water because it's black. Should camouflage pretty well. And then I'm going to throw the existing lily kind of draped all over it and take it from there. Look at that. That's what we're working with. Staple this down. I feel like this step doesn't have to be perfect because they float already. You just don't want them to blow or rip off. So I'm just making sure I put enough staples in them to hold them in place. And that'll be my decorative lily pad. I'm going to tie a little rope around here and mount it to my artificial reef that I made. If you didn't see my artificial reef, I could include links to that. And let this float in the pond. All right, let's go swimming. So there are the existing lily pads that have been in there for 3 years, tied to a underground reef or artificial structure for fish. And we're going to add our new lily pad and throw all those lily pads kind of on top to disguise it a little further. I'm getting in there with waders. Let's go. right on the edge where it drops off. I'm trying not to drop off over my wader.
And here's the final product. It's floating nicely, looks great, disguised well. In fact, I thought it would take up more room in my pond. The fish seem to like it and come right over. Very happy how this project came out.